Groundwater cannot be understood without an understanding of the hydrologic cycle, which involves the movement of water from ocean basins to the continents and back to the ocean basins. Generally speaking, water in the Earth's oceans and other bodies is converted into vapor through a process known as evaporation. Other water from plants is also converted into vapor through a process called transpiration. All of this vapor in the atmosphere eventually forms clouds through a process known as condensation. And once these condensed particles of water become too heavy for the air to support, they fall to Earth in a process known as precipitation. Precipitation is the primary way we receive fresh water on Earth, and this fresh water is especially precious if you consider that only 3% of the world's water is fresh water. About 30% of that fresh water is considered groundwater, and all other fresh water is in the form of either ice, roughly 69%, or surface water, roughly 1%. Other important elements of the hydrologic cycle include infiltration and percolation, the processes by which water moves through Earth's surface and then penetrates deeper into the soil. Much of this water eventually reaches geologic formations deep underground that are also known as aquifers. Another important element of the hydrologic cycle involves runoff. This occurs when there is excessive precipitation and the soil is too saturated to absorb any more water. Runoff forms lakes and rivers, and this water eventually returns to the oceans where it undergoes evaporation and the hydrologic cycle begins once again. In our region of Texas, condensed water forms clouds, mainly over the Davis and Chinati mountain ranges, where it falls in the form of rain or snow, runs downhill due to gravity, and either infiltrates the soil or enters our creeks and the Rio Grande, ultimately returning to the ocean through the Gulf of Mexico. When water infiltrates the soil and reaches the aquifer, this process is known as aquifer recharge. The Texas Water Development Board recognizes two freshwater aquifers in Presidio County, the Igneous Aquifer and the West Texas Bolsones. Folks in the north of the county rely heavily on the Igneous Aquifer for their water. People in the south of the county rely heavily on the West Texas Bolsones, including Presidio and Redford Bolsones, for their potable water. A bolsone, which is Spanish for pocket, is a small basin created by regional faults in sedimentary layers under the Earth's surface. Recharge is not consistent across the landscape. It is more effective in areas where there is a pathway of porous material from the surface to the aquifer. This condition best occurs at mountain fronts or areas of transition from mountain to valley. These areas often include faults in the subsurface that create the pathway for the water to recharge the aquifer. In a place like Presidio County, where we have virtually no surface water, groundwater is indispensable to the continued existence of human life in the region. Protecting this resource should be our #1 priority.